Hi everyone, in this tutorial we'll cover the buttons that come with the KivyMD package, and you can see here I've got the kitchen sink demo open from the KivyMD package, and these are all the buttons that we'll cover really quickly. So we've got some icon buttons, some floating action buttons here, and then there's a flat button, raise flat button, MD rectangle flat button, MD rectangle flat icon button, MD round flat button, MD round flat icon button, MD fill round flat button, MD round flat fill icon button something, MD fill round flat icon button, and MD text button. Okay, so I'll put little like timestamps to those in the comment below so you can go to the one that exactly you're looking for. Okay, let's get to the code. So as always, this is how I start my KivyMD apps with no functionality, just for demos. I have imported the theme manager from theming so that I can get my colors set up, and then I set the theme underscore CLS variable as just this instantiated theme manager, and then I run my app. Okay, that's all there is to it. Okay, onto the KV code. Here I just have my box layout so I can put all my button widgets together for this demonstration, and I've given it some spacing and a vertical orientation. Okay, first thing we need to do is import our widget, and I'm going to cover the MD icon button first. So import MD icon button from kivymd.uix.button.md icon button. I'm working with the most up-to-date version of KivyMD at the date that this is published, so sometimes these move around a bit. In my older videos there wasn't this UIX before, just in case you were wondering. Okay, so I've got my MD icon button imported, so let me go ahead and create one. And the first thing you want to do is give it an icon. So I'll just have this be locked. This is a popular one I use. So now if I run my app, here I go, down in the bottom right, I have my little lock icon button, and you can see it looks nice when I click it. So that's the functionality that you get out of the box. This is any of the MD icons. There's that whole GitHub page, remember, of ones that you can choose from. I'll put a link in the description. And now you can color these, of course. So you change the color of the icon by changing the theme text color attribute, and you make this custom. And then this basically lets you change the color as opposed to using like the standard color that comes by default. And then you can say text color. So it's a little bit sort of confusing at the moment because there's no text really. But you say text color, and then you can say whatever the heck you want it to be. You specify 4 different pieces to a list, and so I'll make this red with no green and no blue, and make it fully opaque. Alright, so I've specified a text color and it's red. There you go, now my icon is red. Okay, and the other thing you can do, of course, is remember I've got my theme manager over here, so I've got my colors. I could change this to be like app.themecls.primary color, and then if I run it, I get the nice light blue. That is the default primary color of the theme manager class. Okay, so there you go. You've got your icon button, you know how to change the icon, and you know how to change the color. Perfect. Next up is going to be the MD floating action button, which if we go back to the demo here, this is what an MD floating action button is. It's this nice big circle with the icon in the center. Okay, so first thing we need to do is import MD floating action button, of course, from kivymd.uix.button.md floating action button. So it's kind of a long one, but that's how it goes. And now let's go ahead and create the MD floating action button. And you could have guessed that we're going to give it an icon for sure. So I'll run it and we'll see what that looks like. And here we go. This is my MD floating action button. Okay, let's see what we can customize about this. We've got the same 2 attributes here, theme text color. We set that to custom if we want to change the color by default. Text color is what you want it to be, so maybe I'll say like, let's make this one RG, let's make this one purple. Okay, so if I run it, there you go. Now my icon has turned purple, but the background is still a different color. But you can go ahead and change the background color just by putting this MD_BG_color attribute to whatever you would like. So this could be maybe we'll have it be green. This is gonna be a heck of a contrast. There you go. Okay, so I've got my green background specified by the MD background color. And for all of these classes, by the way, all these buttons, you'll always have access to like the on release function. So I could say like on release print MD icon button. So that when I run it, and if I go click on my icon, that's how you actually use the button. It's just like a normal button in Kivy, okay? So the on release function, or they've got the on press function, of course, and you can write whatever code you need there. Okay, so we've covered those two. Next up, if we go back and look at the demo, is going to be the MD flat button. Okay, MD flat button, you could have guessed, we're going to import MD flat button from KivyMD.uix.button.md flat button. Okay, we'll go down here and MD flat button, we'll make one. This one has text in it, unlike the first two, so you can bet that we're going to be able to specify some text. So I'll say, hey YouTube. Okay, let's see how that works. There you go. Here's my MD flat button with my text. And there's not too much to do with this one either, but we can definitely specify the color of the text. So you could have guessed the same way we're going to do it is theme text color we'll set to custom, and then of course text color will make whatever the heck we want. So maybe we want the accent color. So if I run that, here we go. Now I've got my colored text field. Okay, colored MD flat button. Okay, the next one up is the MD raised button, and at this point we're going to start seeing a lot of overlapping. So basically the fields we've been using so far are just kind of reused. All the buttons are almost identical from here on out, but they just look a little bit different. So just keep that in mind. You can probably figure out the rest yourself given the names of these, but I'll cover them just in case. Okay, so MD raised button. Of course we need to import it. So first thing we do, import MD raised button from KivyMD.uix.button.md raised button. Okay, scroll down here and let's go ahead and start it out with just some text. Hello world, a classic. Okay, here we go. This is my raised button by default, and we can change the text color. I'm sure you've guessed, we just use the same things over and over. app.theme cls dot well, we'll make it something else. Okay, so we set the color of the text to be custom and set it to the green color, and then using the MD_BG color, just like for the floating action button up here, we can specify a color for the background. So maybe this is going to be like 1.1.4. Okay, who knows what that looks like? Some kind of pink. So there you go. Just reusing the same variables over and over. Next up, after the MD raise button, is the MD rectangle flat button. So let's cover that. Import MD rectangle flat button KivyMD.uix.button.md rectangle flat button. There we go. And MD rectangle flat button, let's instantiate it and we'll give it some text. Hey there. Okay. Here you go. Now it's this outlined one instead of the filled in one. And we can definitely change the text color. Theme text color is custom. Text color, of course, something. There you go. We've changed the text color. And you notice that this background is, this is the color of the app.themecls.primary color, and that actually is not supposed to be changed. So we'll just leave that. We won't try to change that line color. And also, we won't change the background color because then that would make it a raise button pretty much. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that. You can change the text color of that one if you like. Okay, so we just did this guy. So now we're gonna go to the MD rectangle flat icon button. So first things first, of course, import, what do we call it? MD rectangle flat icon button from KivyMD.uix.button.md rectangle flat icon button. Bam. I'm copying that because I don't feel like typing it again. So we'll create one. Text is some text here. And of course, now that we have an icon in here, so we have an icon button, we get to specify another icon. So let's see how that looks. There you go. There's my icon, the bookmark icon, and some text. And that's actually about it for the MD rectangle flat icon button because it gets a little bit tricky now that there's an icon and some text to manipulate the colors in there. You can do it if you go look at the source code in here, but it's kind of hairy. So, and usually you don't need to change these things anyways, but I'm just sort of putting it out there. Okay, so next up, if we look at our demo, is the MD round flat button. So first things first, import MD round flat button, right? That was the name. MD round flat button, yep. From KivyMD.uix.button.md round flat button, and I'll copy that, and I'll go down, and there we go. Text, this is round, and let's see what that looks like. There you go. That's how you create it. This one you can change the text color. So theme text color, we'll set it to custom again, and then text color, we'll just say like there. So another purple text one. Okay, so same as this guy up here, you don't really want to screw around with the background because it gets tricky. But you can always look at the source code and change things in there. Maybe make your own class. Inherit from the MD round flat button. Okay, next up is the MD round flat icon button. So we will go up here, import MD round flat icon button from KivyMD.uix.button.md round flat icon button. There you go. MD round flat icon button, we're going to put it inside of our box layout. Text is round flat icon button, and since we have an icon, of course we get to specify an icon, so maybe I'll say like, I think there's a plus one, so there you go, there's my plus, and it shortened it. So anytime text is too long in one of these, it shortens it. So you want to make sure to keep these names short so that everything fits, okay? So a button should never have like a very long name. And this one, since we have both a label and an icon, you don't want to try to mess around with the colors again, unless you look at the source code and go change it yourself. But by default, at this point in time, there's no easy way to change the colors. Okay, so next up, looking at our demo here, is the MD fill round flat button. Jeez, I'm getting so confused on all of these. Okay, so import MD fill round flat button from KivyMD.uix.button.md fill round flat button. There we go. So I'll make a new one, MD fill round flat button, and we'll give it some text. Fill round flat. See what that looks like. And there you go. Fill round flat button. And I bet that we can go ahead and change the text color. So I'll say theme text color will be custom. Text color is going to be whatever the heck you want it to be. And that should change the color of the text. So I've got this kind of like weird teal. And then of course, since this one has a background, we can use MD_BG_color and set that to whatever the heck we want. So maybe it'll be another red. And we'll run that. And there you go. We've changed the background and we've changed the text color, and that's all there is to it. Next one up is the MD round flat icon button. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, MD round flat icon button. Okay, import MD round flat icon button from KivyMD.uix.button.md round flat icon button. There we go. Go down here, MD round flat icon button, adding it to our grid, and we'll give it some text. Round flat icon. Oops, I didn't specify an icon. By default, I guess it's this Android, okay? So if you forget to specify an icon, that's what it is. So let's go ahead and specify our icon. We'll have this be, I don't know, Apple. Maybe that's probably an icon. And let's see if that works. Yep. Okay. And since we've got the text and the icon together, this is another one like these two guys where you don't try to change the colors because it's not too simple with this version of KivyMD yet. Okay, now let's look back at our demo and see what's next. We have MD fill round flat icon button. Okay, so MD fill round flat icon button. I think that's the longest one. From KivyMD.uix.button.md fill round flat icon button. There we go. And MD fill round flat icon button. We'll instantiate it. We'll give it some text. We'll give it an icon. Maybe that's an icon, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, bam. There it is. This one you can go ahead and change the MD_BG color and set this to whatever you would like, since we have a nice background to work with. There we are. And then last but not least, we just have this little MD text button that just sort of changes colors very, very lightly when you touch it. Okay, so MD text button. First thing we need to do is import, of course. MD text button from KivyMD.uix.button.md text button. And then I'll scroll all the way down here and I'll create my MD text button and we'll give it some text. MD text button demo. Here we are. That's the last one. When you click it, it changes colors very briefly. And this one is just a tad different from the other guys. It doesn't really follow the pattern, but you can change the color of the text here by specifying custom color, and then you give it any color again. So we'll make this one red. So this is red, no green, no blue, and fully visible. Okay, so if I run this one last time, there you go, that's my MD text button. That's all the buttons you guys have access to, how to change the colors for the most part, and all the icons. Of course, like any normal button in Kivy, you can access like the on press or on release functions, and you can set those to do whatever you need the button to do. So it's just like a normal button in Kivy, but it looks nice and you can customize it. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.